I'm so thrilled to have this opportunity. Last time, as a matter of fact, last year in February, in frozen cold Sweden, I enjoyed it, but I had a bad experience with computers. But today, thank God, it appeared correctly. Today, my topic is maturation peak management. I'm not talking about the peak of Mount Fuji, nor Paramount Picture movies. Did you get that? I kind of joke. But today, I am going to talk maturation peak management, but it sounds like listening to the audience and the questions. I think a lot more discussion or question probably I should draw instead of talking stuff what I prepare. But first, I quickly go over what I prepared to do, but I want to discuss and share what we have done so far. Maturation, of course, as you might all know, there's a peak in whiskey maturation, like any other food or drinks. But unfortunately, in general, people think the longer the barrel age, the better the whiskey, quality of whiskey gets. But almost all you know or believe that's not true at all. We, as our company's quality policy, maturation peak management is key factor for success from the beginning of the foundation of the company. It's been this year, 45th anniversary. Of course, I haven't worked that long, but since the beginning, maturation peak was the key for success again. What I'm going to talk about, what that means, and why we do it, how we do it. That's what I'm going to talk. But first of all, for better understanding, I'd like to explain about our background, history of a distillery, briefly. This is a distillery, this is Stillhouse, the silo. This is the location, this is the photo from the top of the silo. Less than 12 kilometers to the peak of Mount Fuji, horizontally. Walking every day, looking at Mount Fuji, reminds me, oh, peak in maturation. This is a quick preview of maturation peak. Most of you might have seen that kind of similar diagrams. This is what we stand for. Of course, as you start with a clear display, gets too dark, once over mature, there's always the peak. That's what I'm going to talk about. Before that, why we doing it? What we try to do is we don't just let that barrel take care of it. Even just try to put it in the barrel. We do something differently from others, and we take care of during the maturation as well. But before putting in the barrel, we do make various type of whiskeys. This is our pot still, copper pot still, front wash still, further back wash still. Far back, maybe that's not the official, but that's the different steel, the stainless steel. This is how we make different using by combination of different malt and yeast and steel and different type of barrels. But we do all use almost all American white oak barrel, just a different type, new char or ex-bourbon or a refill cask, but those how we make differently. Speaking of grain whiskey, today, always up until so far, I keep telling, we're the one of unique distillery where not only malt whiskey, but also different style of grain whiskey produced from machine to the bottling, everything on site. But having listened to Ian and some other people these days, people start to do everything, different stuff at one site. So maybe I stopped saying that we're the unique, this is the uniqueness. But anyway, this is what we've been doing is because of our history as starting a joint venture among Jane Brewery and the Seagram Group and Shibas Brothers. We adopted all technique and methodologies, know-how from all over the world, major whiskey countries. This is continuous still, Batch Kettle, which is from Canada, Beercam Dabbler, which developed Seagrams. That's now become the standard, industrial standard, but that's developed by the Seagram. Making, by using different still configuration, we make 3 different styles of whiskeys. This is batch distillation, not continuous. But by doing this, again, showing combination of different grain. For particular, this we use a high proportion rye too, but using different mash bill, using yeast, different yeast, stills, and the combination with different barrels. We make flavor different. Because of our unique style of grains, by type, flavor type, we call it heavy style grain whiskey, medium, light. This is the image. It doesn't taste like a mushroom or bonitos, but I call it because of the way it works, raw and character. To me, it acts like that. So we call 3 umami brothers. For many people, grain is kind of filler, just in order to make more whiskey more drinkable, approachable, by blending the grain into it so that they're more smooth. But that's not our case. We adding the flavor. Those are the character. Adding the heavy style is pretty much bourbon style. Because of our sister distillery for roses in Kentucky, we exchange know-how and a lot of stuff every year, making pretty much the same style, but we don't hang up on the bourbon definition. We can use different way of doing it, including the barrels. But those are the characters, rules. Again, this is my main topic of maturation. First, we define the maturation peak is the stage where the whiskeys express or possesses potential or the maximum flavor. The flavor at the maximum level. I'm not talking only the pinpoint, but stage where some area, this is very subjective, but those are the area we call maturation peak area. This is what we stand for. By saying that, we're not simply putting the barrel and let it sit. That's not the case. I'm going to talk about how we do it, but we closely monitor, and also change or control this maturation curve. Of course, this is general maturation curve. It illustrates the flavor development, flavor and the colors. But each whiskeys, even if you put same distillate in the barrels, age differently, depending upon the temperature, moisture, filling strength, and so on. So those are contribute to the maturation. Of course, time, Many people say we cannot buy time. That's true. There's some these days innovative ideas going on, but time, environment, moisture, temperature, yes. We do. We have a cool climate. It's not cold as a box distillery, but we have very cool climate. So we managed to make age ideal for us. Components distillate, of course, have a big impact on it. Cask type. What I mean by that is cask type. For experimental purposes, we do use sherry oak. Spanish oak and sherry cask, Mizunara, so and so. We experiment with it, but almost all we use American white oak. So this new chart or some toast levels or refill cask size. Previous people, Carlos talking about the size. Yes, filling strengths, those are stuff. This is general curve. Because of high surface to liquid ratio, we do use 200-liter barrels. Because we say 180, this is due to just bureaucratic in Japan. But officially 180, but just the normal bourbon barrel we buy from the US. But this, gets more flavor as ages compared to hogshead or butts. You all understand that. The smaller the barrels, more of a extract you get. But like people from Carson, smaller barrels, there's some certain level that you cannot stand. We believe this is what we keep using. This is another curve, look like a peak, but this is shows effect of filling strength on wood extract. Most of you probably know. There is the peak between the 50% alcohol and 60. X-axis is alcohol strength, Y-axis is solid or flavor components. There is a peak, those are the area. Normally in the industry, more whiskey is filled at 63 up to 70%, as far as I understand. As for grains, put in the 63 to 70 or up to probably a little bit less than 80%, which I have heard. Those are the filling strengths normally put into. Our case, malt, mostly 50% filling in the cask and aging. For grain whiskey, heavy type of bourbon style whiskey, we do age in the barrel 55, which is happen to be the same as white turkey. Jimmy Russell believed this is the best for the bourbon. 62, that's for other grains. This is what there is alcohol strength. But don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about this is the best way to do. This is dependent on what you get, you want to get, and how you want to get the whiskey aged. For us, these days, for long-aged products, we age at a little higher strengths. But because of our climate, high humid and cool and high humidity, we tend to lose alcohol pretty much. So even if, for example, malt whiskey, once put in the barrel here, 10 years or 15 years or close to 18 years, almost close to 40. So the inside the barrel follow this curve. We not only monitor or conduct sensory evaluation, but also we do conduct analysis. By analyzing distillate and whiskey of all what we make, using by doing the non-target analysis using GCs and LCs and getting lots of pattern of detected compounds. And by conducting multivariate analysis, so-called, of detected compounds, we try to, we monitoring the maturation pattern and also try to predict maturation, which direction the whiskey is going to. This is one of examples of what we've been doing. This is simply simple ones. By doing those multivariate analysis, figure 1 shows two-dimensional, one's so-called principal component analysis. By doing it, mapping two principal, first principal component components and second principal components. Principal components means whatever each chemical compound doesn't matter. Just as a non-target analysis, detecting those components and separate in groups, taking major first and second, putting in a group and maps, showing this footnote, CL stands for just our lifestyle. This is medium, this is bourbons, and this is malts. And looking at those are the displays. Like whiskey medium, position pretty much same, heavy style, the grain whiskey, malt are pretty much close positioned. As ages, this 2 years and 3 years and 7, 8 years, and those are the numbers showing the year of age. As ages towards lower right-hand side, going that direction. Direction doesn't matter, but showing as in the aged in the barrels going the same direction. However, once adopting third principal component and mapping in the 3 dimensions, heavy type going different direction, little bit lower, upper right corner, other ones goes down. This implies, of course, probably, highly likely, this is because of new charred oak barrel act differently from other style of barrel, even though they are all American white oak. But this is one of the examples we monitor it. We try to predict the maturation. Conducting those evaluation, the chemical analysis, this is showing, this is again the image, how it ages, malt whiskey, put in the ex-bourbon, thanks to Four Roses, our sister distillery. We luckily, we can buy whatever we can get from Four Roses ex-bourbon barrels. This is how it aged, but once it put in the refill cask, age like that. X-axis age, and sorry, I forgot to mention the character, the quality. This is the peak area for the whiskey stuffed aged in the ex-bourbons. Of course, again, this is subjective, but this is what we try to use for particular blends. This is grain whiskey bourbon style. As you can imagine, since putting the new charred oak barrels, about 2 to 3 years drastically get colored flavors in new charred oak. Once you put in the ex-bourbons, we don't hang up on the bourbon definition, so we can put in any type. This is how it aged. This is the peak area for the new charred oak casks. This is in general between 5 and 8, but once it gets over 8 years, start to lose the character. I'm not saying it doesn't, I'm not saying it gets bad. Start to lose the character, which ought to have each distinct characters. I'm not talking about not only distillery character, but also each style of whiskey should have some characters. So this is the area at the maximum levels. When it comes to medium style, this is it, you can imagine, act like that. This is again ex-bourbons. So this is how we monitor and decide when to pull out from warehouse. But this is not, again, they're not simply putting the barrel, let it sit, thinking about the filling cask strength and the location of the warehouse. We have a large steel rack warehouse, 20-meter height, 18 or 20 racks. Of course, the bottom to top, we try to maintain the unique temperature because of natural circulation, but reality is lower the racks, cooler, high humid, so age differently. So we're not changing the position, but sometimes we change from one barrel to another, try to tweak or change the flavor maturation patterns. It's like when I talk about whiskey making, I compare it to cooking, like cooking, heat level, high heat to medium, low, or frying, deep fry, or over roasted. That's the way probably when it comes to aging. You can do a lot of stuff instead of let it sit. This is what we're doing. This is last sheet or last second. This is the product which we're going to taste tonight. This we launched last year. This concept is a blend of pigs in maturation. We select the whiskey at pig area. This is what that is. These days, due to the global whiskey shortages, people start to introduce non-age statement. This is not the reason why we're doing this. We've been producing this non-age statement for long, but this particular product launched last year and also introduced to Paris for the first time for our company history, introduced to overseas. We've been focusing on the domestic for long up until 2 years ago. But this is the product. Specification, blended 50, non-chill filtered. Uniqueness of this is because of malt, some are lightly peated with bourbon style whiskeys. These days, there are some blends like that under the name of innovation, but we've been making this style of blends for long. And also, 50% of ABV. This is not because we want to get people get drunk earlier. This is what the reason. This is why we make putting the malt whiskey at the 50% and the bourbon style whiskey at the 55%. Once you blend together, pretty much close to 50%. We don't need to add a lot of water, so there's no drastic alcohol drops at the bottling. We were able to feel everything, the stuff, the character, the flavors produced during the aging, everything put in the barrels, put in the bottles. That's what that is. We'll taste tonight. This is pretty much all the end of my stuff. Last slide is welcome you to Japan. Maybe not next year or following year, but in the near future, let's have a forum. I don't know if we can host you guys at the distillery, but this is top of the silo. with a drum of a whiskey looking at the traditional Mount Fuji gorgeous drum you would experience. So welcome. This is the end of my story. Thank you very much.
Jota, thank you very much. I think folks who've just seen Kaizen thinking at work, you know, I think he's thought this through. You might just get that feeling. And I really look forward to a Whisky Forum. Why don't we just have it at the top of Mount Fuji?
That's maybe it's pretty much cold as the February.
It's easy. Nothing compared to Carton or whatever we're calling it. So lots of things to think about here. So kind of kick it off. I kind of, when I was hearing you doing your presentation there, I was thinking of what it must be like, trying to think what it must be like in your mind putting together a blend. I was getting the feeling it was a bit like, and this analogy might not work, it depends if you like Marvel movies, a bit like Iron Man, you know, kind of pulling up all these different shapes in front of them and just kind of placing and overlaying different peaks of maturation on top of one another in a kind of three-dimensional way. Is that kind of how you approach blending?
I appreciate your really deep thought, but that's not that complicated. Just picking the great, the whiskey a pick and try to make it balanced. But, you know, it's of course a difficult part. It's not that easy to make it balanced, the flavors. Sometimes peated malt with bourbon, it's like, sorry to say that, United Kingdom and the United States something borrow each other, like that. Scotch malt, bourbon doesn't go well at all. So, but some proportion works well. Once married together, boom, more synergy effect. Somehow the unique character brought out. But just going back to the question, it's difficult to answer, but it's not that difficult selection, but difficult to make the balanced stuff. But the thing is, because of the whiskey at the maximum level, some people at profession said when they tasted, he said, "Oh, explosion of flavor in his mouth." That's really that was my compliment. That's what I was trying to do. That's what the professional tasted.
I was interested in the notion of the peak and this kind of arc of maturation, the peak maturation. Are there flavours which are slightly before that peak and also flavours which are after the peak? Are there flavours in there which are still interesting that you could still use in a blend? Yeah.
Sure, yeah. Yes. Yeah. Today I focused on the maturation peak, but our major, more economical style of whiskey, more in statement, I'm not talking about peak at all. A little bit that's some younger ones has good characters. So we wanted to have a good, not immature, but just still a little young prior to the peak. Those are that has a good component. So on purposely we make some particular blend. Of course that's less expensive, so that's more consumer friendly. So that's what we make that blend too. Yes.
And the same at the end, you know, some slightly what would be overaged if it was on its own, but actually works.
Thank you for pointing that out. That our economical style of whiskey, we not only use young ones, but long mature, much longer than what we use for this brand. Some of them, although a small proportion, but over the 15 years of age, that some of the ones, it's not good as it is, but add the more character and complexity to that blend. So we use that to start.
Any questions? Throw it open to the floor at this point. Anything? Yeah.
Your maturation peak is very interesting. I was wondering how long is that maturation peak? peak in terms of either months or years? And also how you define that maturation peak. Is it the balance of flavours within that peak that appeals to you, or are there some additional flavours that perhaps come and go, before and after that peak?
Okay, one thing is, as you might recognize, I didn't put any number in it because first I used to put it, but once I put it, I kept telling. These days, nowadays, people put in the Facebook or website their own. Jota said this peak is between this and that. That's not what I'm trying to spread around. That's really again subjective. Of course, just in general, bourbon style, making exactly the same as in Kentucky, putting certain strengths between 5 and 8 is the peak, which I read. That's my opinion. But Jimmy Russell, Master Distiller Emeritus of Wild Turkey, totally agreed with me. He said 5 and 8, so I believe what that is. But answering to the second question, just from our experience, of course, that's really matter of how do you say, taste. So maybe for even blenders, some people say maybe a little differently, but for the bourbon or the whiskey, malt whiskey, in our case, normally probably I would say this moment, the way we make 8 and 17, 18, that's pretty much. But once you go over, it's too much of losing the character. So that's what maybe. But again, depending upon what kind of barrel you're putting into, at what field strength, all matters.
So it's important to keep the parameters as wide open as possible for flavour. Yeah. And I'm just kind of picking up on that last point here, Jota. Do you think that the discussion about peak maturation is one way of trying to explain to people about no age statement whiskies? Because there's great pushback from consumers about no age. Is this a possible way in terms of educating people about no age?
Yeah. Well, one thing is I really like the way you express, age is just a number. Maturation is the character. I mean, for example, maybe most of you or I understand that once the whiskey is too long, it tastes like, I'm sorry to say that, the cognac or some rum, so very close to getting similar because stop losing the character of their own. But I'm not saying the old stuff or the pig. It's not bad. It's not bad, but it doesn't have that much of a character. More tiny, or you just tasting the extract from the wood. Some of the ones is so good. I mean, I've tasted, of course, thank God, being the master blender, opportunity to taste the long age 40, 50 years of whiskeys, but it's good, but doesn't have that much of a character. It's precious, so delicate, but that's about it. So that's the way I see it.
Any other questions from the audience? Martin?
First of all, thank you for a very interesting presentation. I was wondering, I noticed the maturation curve on your medium grain distillate on refill cask.
Yeah.
Had a slower decline of character than the other maturation.
Yeah.
Is that because of the filling strength?
Filling strength and also the style of distillate. I mean, the component things put into the inside.
That's the batch kettle?
Yes, batch kettle, yes. That is, so the peak area, that was for the ex-bourbon. So refill cask, I forgot to mention the peak area for that particular one, more towards slice to the right-hand side, much longer. But doesn't have that much more slow curve, and gradually then start to lose instead of losing more.
Another question. And then one from Whisky.
Hello. Yes, very interesting talk. Thank you. And my question was just about climate. We've heard about from the other speakers about the three things going on in maturation, and you want them to cross the line at the same time. You have a really interesting perspective working with a bourbon producer as well. And I just wondered, with the climate where you are and what you see elsewhere, do you have any? Do you sometimes wish you were in a slightly warmer environment, or do you think that actually what we have in Scotland works nicely?
Well, what's the style or character when you get because of the way we make grain sauce, pretty much all from overseas. The way we do make our stuff, climate, I'm not complaining about anything at all. How we can maximize or bring up potential characters under the condition of what you get. So that's what we're trying to do. But of course, like I mentioned, in the warehouse, upper tiers and lower tiers age differently, so closely monitored. So we try to use right way at the right time. So that's what we do.
Liza, you had a question.
Hi, I'm really curious about the process of selecting the barrels. It seems like you have just so many variables. Are you just first of all, about how many do you have aging? And do you work as a panel? Because there is a degree of subjectivity to this.
Sure. First, I cannot answer how many numbers of barrel we have, but the panels are, of course, reality. We cannot monitor every barrel at all. In a certain batch, one batch is consists of 260 to 300 barrels per batch. We do monitor selecting several barrels from lot, each batch is at a certain period. So trying to understand, first of all, important to take sample, try to have a sample which represent what you get. So from lower tiers, upper tiers, select we have a quality of standard, how to pick and what to do. Sensory panel, yes, we do have. We have, including myself, 3 blenders, but the quality control panels at the distillery, several people. So that's what we do.
Have you ever disagreed over?
Yeah, we do, yes. Of course, I'm the person who finally decide what to do, but open for discussion. Sometime or not, every time we do something like that. So open discussion and try to understand each other and try to reach an agreement. That's what we're trying to do. Yes.
We've got time for one very quick question, if we have one. Yeah. Okay.
You mentioned you did some GC and some LC analysis. How did you find that agreed with what you were seeing sensory?
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. I don't know if I want this close enough. Your GC and your LC analysis. How did you find that agreed with what you were seeing from a sensory perspective? Did it correlate quite well in terms of your or?
Yes or no? As pretty much a blender, pretty much I get like a Suntory, some other blender from company. agree that we cannot rely or we cannot trust machine at all when it comes to flavor. But we really trust and we need to rely on the machine on other aspects. Monitoring or try to understand the maturation mechanisms and the direction of what we, or if there is anything we can do to make it better. That's the start of very good tool. Of course, I'm not doing that. That's our other department in China doing for us. So this is really good tool, especially multivariate analysis. I mean, those are the chemometrics. That's not simply just analyzing the components, just trying to grasp what the maturation as a growth of a component, what's going on with the inside. That's what we're trying to understand.
Thank you very much. Jota, thank you again. Fascinating.